are the insiders, Bob McKenzie and Pierre LeBrun. Guys, Kyle Dubas, a busy general manager these days. Word yesterday that Nikita Zaitsev has asked for a trade. We know he's juggling the Mitch Marner contract. And today, word that, well, perhaps Patrick Marleau could be on the move, Pierre.
Yeah, that's right, Ryan. What we know is this. The LA Kings and the Toronto Maple Leafs have had discussions about a potential trade involving Patrick Marleau, but it's complicated for a number of reasons. One, Marleau has the full no move. We believe that he would be open to waiving it for a trade to the LA Kings. But it goes beyond that. Why would it make sense for the LA Kings beyond that? It would have to be that Toronto Maple Leafs take a piece back with term on it that would help the Kings in a few years when their cap issues begin. For the Maple Leafs, of course, it's a short-term fix of getting off from that $6.25 million that Patrick Marleau is owed next season. They're not close to a trade. We don't know if the trade will happen, but the two sides continue to have those discussions.
Ryan, you said it's challenging times for General Manager Kyle Dubas. It's also an opportunity to be aggressive and creative and open-minded. He's obviously got to sign Mitch Marner. He's got to reconstruct his defense, and he's got to make it all fit within the salary cap. That's the challenge. In terms of what he may or may not do, there are really only four untouchables on the Toronto Maple Leafs: John Tavares, Austin Matthews, Morgan Riley, and as long as he signs, Mitch Marner. They're the two that fall into the highly not likely to be traded category. That will be William Nylander and goaltender Freddie Anderson. After that, it is wide open. Now, the guys that he's getting, that the Toronto Maple Leafs are getting the most action on right now: Kasperi Kapanen, Nazem Kadri, and Connor Brown. Anything and everything outside of those untouchables will be considered.
Word last week that Phil Kessel would not waive the no trade to facilitate a deal to the Minnesota Wild, Pierre. What's the latest on Jimmy Rutherford and that decision?
Well, the first thing we have to keep in mind is that while he wasn't willing to waive it then, it's not to say that he won't eventually change his mind and waive it to go to Minnesota. So you have to keep an open mind to that possibility. But here's what is new, is that I think the Pittsburgh Penguins a week ago probably thought for sure they were going to trade Phil Kessel this summer. Now I think Jim Rutherford, and he shared this with Phil Kessel, he's open to keeping him if they can't find a trade that makes sense for them. The point is this: Jim Rutherford's not just going to dump Phil Kessel for salary cap reasons and get very little in return. This would have to be a tangible hockey trade where he helps the Pittsburgh Penguins out. He believes Phil Kessel is still an offensive force. And so unless a deal makes sense for the Penguins that Phil Kessel is comfortable with, then he will stay put in Pittsburgh.
The Jeff Skinner watch is still on in Buffalo. Of course, he's an unrestricted free agent on July 1st. The Sabres trying to sign him. There's been constant dialogue over the course of this week, pretty much every day, including today, but there's not expected to be a deal for Jeff Skinner in Buffalo today. That means talks will continue. What might it look like if it's going to get done? It's expected to be an 8-year deal at or near $9 million per year. The Sabres want to try to get it in less than the $9 million. Skinner would like to get it $9 million or more, but talks continue.
Coming off a 40-goal season. What's the latest on the Anaheim Ducks and their search for a head coach, Bob?
Well, we all presumed that Dallas Eakins was going to get that job, but Bob Murray, the general manager there, has opened it up significantly. Todd Nelson, assistant coach of the Dallas Stars, has already been interviewed. Rick Bowness, assistant coach of the Dallas Stars, Anaheim asked for permission to talk to him. Lane Lambert, New York Islander assistant coach, is a candidate, as well as Dallas Eakins. So the expansive search continues.
We know one thing, Bob: whoever gets a job in Anaheim isn't going to crack the top 10 list of highest paid coaches. That's not their style. They're a budget team. But yes, we've compiled a top 10 list here. Coaches' salaries aren't really that known, but we've done a little research. And the name you won't see on there, of course, is Dave Tippett. We know hired a few days ago by the Edmonton Oilers. And it shows you the bargain that Ken Holland got and the fact that he's under $3 million a year, which doesn't crack the top 10, which is saying something. It tells you where the coaches' salaries have gone over the last couple of years. It started with Mike Babcock and has continued to have an impact in terms of where coaches are. And we'll see now if Kenny Holland's salary of $5 million a year will have an impact on GM contracts.
The rising tide floats all boats. We'll have to see also where Craig Berube comes in on that list, expecting to get a deal done with Doug Armstrong and the St. Louis Blues after the Stanley Cup final is over. That's Insider Trading from St. Louis.